Next, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our next speaker. I've known Randy since I was a teenager. We were members of the same church, and he wasn't a pastor at the time, but everyone knew his passion. He's a man of conviction, and we're fortunate to have his leadership in our community. As Randy comes to the stage, please show our appreciation to Randy Gariss and College Heights Christian Church for allowing us to use this facility.
You can clap all you want, but I'm still going to speak a long time. Actually, your worst nightmare would be to go, man, I don't mind a manner the word speaks, but I wished he didn't have so many words. And I will be brief, I will be to the point. Anything I've learned about life, it's this, that the heroic seldom looks heroic at the moment. A good friend of mine, his name's Dale Storms. Dale stood pretty well right here, and Dale said the first time he flew a B-24 bomber in World War II, he said they were going in where the rates of the planes coming back was incredibly low. And he said, I got on the plane, and he said, I prayed this, oh God, just let me do my duty. He said it was an amazing thing. He said, I just said, let me do my duty. And he said, I just over my head over and over again. And he said, I flew that mission, and I flew in, and I dropped the bombs, and he described what he did. And he said, the only thing I can tell you I did is I was committed to gritting my teeth and doing my duty. He said, I did that 50 more times in a B-24. He said, Randy, he said, all I did was what I ought to do. I just did my duty. My father-in-law was shot down in World War II. He was shot down over Budapest. He was in POW camps, and then later on he was in what's called the 600-mile hunger walk. He weighed 85 pounds when he was liberated. In a serious moment, you ask him about that whole process, and all he will say is, you know, it was a combination of boredom, it was a combination of fear, but it was just a combination of getting up every day and doing what you ought to do. The tornado has been talked to death here in the Joplin area, but we do know this reality. No matter where you were in the tornado, no matter what you did in its aftermath, you didn't feel like you did enough. You just feel like you were doing something ordinary. I say all of those stories to step back and say this. It's only in the perspective afterwards, after the ordinary has been done, after the duty has been done, that you look up and can stand at a far enough distance and say, that was heroic. That changed the world. Not a single one of you will get up in the morning and go clean the frost off your windshields and go to classrooms. Not a single one of you will walk in and see those faces and feel, I'm heroic today. You're going to walk into places that have chaos and noise and confusion. You have a headache, and you got a kid who's a jerk in the second row, and you got a jerk who's teaching next door. And there's no great banner that goes, I'm being heroic today. But what you will do is you will do the stuff that the heart of God cries for. Every baby that's born, most of them in this culture are born in a nursery now where some nurse has wrapped that child and put that child in and prayed over that child and said, I hope this kid has a great life. I hope somebody makes room for this kid in their life. And these nursery nurses, they're sending that baby out the door and they have no idea where it goes. Well, you and I both know that baby goes into a world that's an 8-lane highway. It's a confusing, crazy world. For some of them, they'll have some reason they sort of become the float queens, and for some of them, they sort of get but for a great majority of them, life is pretty tough. It's chaotic, it's wild. There's moments. And we're in a culture that doesn't have stable people in their lives. We just don't. 100 years ago, I don't want to make some kind of wonderful time, but 100 years ago, they had an old woman across the street who always lived across them the whole time they grew up. They had an aunt down 100 years ago. They at least had. Now they don't. Now it's you. For some of you, you will be the most consistent face and presence in their life. You are heroic. You do your duty. There will be no band playing. There will be no clapping. There will be no cheering. But you do your duty. You get up every day and you do what's right, and you decide somewhere today, these kids need two things. They need an education, and I educate because education really matters. But these kids have a worth and value beyond their grade. The kid who makes the A+ is not worth more than the kid who made the C-. And the kid who made the C- didn't lose his worth and value because he made C-. Oh, they need prodded to be their best. But even if they're worse, they're still made in the image of God, and they're still people who have to matter. And there's nobody else telling them in this world. They can't keep track of the number of dads in their houses sometimes. They can't keep track of the number of places we've lived. Even the kids that come from great homes, they live in a chaotic world, and they wonder, does anybody else's voice match my mom and dad's voice? Or are my mom and dad just odd? Well, that may be true too, but that's another story. The only place that I know that a kid is guaranteed to have somebody who says, I'll meet you there every day, and you'll matter, is somebody who decides, I'll be heroic, without the applause, without the band, without the cheering. It comes with messiness, it comes with a lot of aggravation, but I'll meet you there every single day. I will be the answer to that nurse's prayer when that kid was born and put in a crib in the nursery. I will be the answer to that grandma's prayer who's in Wisconsin going, is there anybody caring for my kid in Joplin? I'll be the prayer. I'll be the answer to prayer for that mom who's working 3 jobs, and she sends her kid to school, and she hopes he went ahead or she went ahead and left. And she's working. I'll be the answer to the prayer. It will not look heroic at the moment, but I promise you at the end of your journey, you'll be like a man who said 50 times in that B-24, or you will be like the stories we know from Joplin. Literally, you change the world in what you do. Man, if all you have is a job, please quit. If all you have is a job, please quit. On the other hand, if you have a job that lets you change the world, be heroic, stand there every day, and do the right thing. It's the stuff that makes the world to be the place I want to live in. College Heights, just on our behalf, we're one of the congregations in the area. There's a lot of great congregations in this area, but we're one of them. I will tell you, from one church, about 1,500 families here in this congregation, we want to support you, whatever you need. I know you have communication channels and processes by which you say things, but I'm going to tell you bluntly and straightforward, you tell us what you need, we will try. We can give human resources, we will do the best we can. We will try to stock the bright futures and all the way, but if you need something beyond that, we will try, and we're not the only congregation to do that, because what you do matters. Those on the front line ought to have those who are behind the lines who are willing to do whatever is required. We would make you that offer. Glad you're here today. They want me to make an announcement, which is that those of you who rode the shuttle bus, it'll be on the south doors when this is over. You're not allowed to leave yet, but there'll be shuttle. It just seems tacky, really. It seems tacky. But the shuttle buses will be at the south door when that occurs. So glad that you're here. I will tell you, you matter. Be heroic. Be heroic.